whole idea for the Body Parts project came about in winter 2014. I had this kind of simultaneous idea for a film story. I'd been planning to make a short film for quite a long time, but was just waiting for the right story to come to me. And also the idea of making it into a Starkey project and having a song to go with the film, kind of weaving the song in around the story. So I quickly kind of brainstormed the characters and the situation, and I told Seah about it and described my ideas for how the film would look and how the music would fit in with that, which she immediately understood, as she does, and she went away and very quickly wrote some amazing lyrics based on the concept that I'd explained to her.
I wrote the lyrics to Body Parts it's a mixture from lots of stuff that I wrote while I was at uni. I kind of was writing down little bits every now and then. I have this big book that is the go-to book. I get all of the little bits that I like, all of the kind of phrases that I find that I think would fit somewhere, and occasionally I turn them into longer pieces or longer things. And Body Parts was quite an interesting one for me to write, actually. Half of the song came from a love song that I never finished. And I found this song in the book and I went, well, I'm never going to finish this love song, so I'm going to nick the best bits of it. And then to put it to a project like this, it was a little jump for me, really. I had to reconfigure it in my head. It is still a love song of sorts, but not the way it was originally intended to be written. I think I work best if I'm given a phrase like Body Parts was the title, and I knew that had to be incorporated in there. And then once I've been given that phrase, I can kind of write off that. Some of the other Starkey stuff has been very much like that. Bricks on Glass was like that. I was given that phrase and that concept and then I wrote it. I suppose the other thing that we do with lyrics a lot within Starkey is I will write something and I will bring it over to Branwen and she goes, like that bit, like that bit, like that bit, not so much that bit, and then we swap it round and make it 100 times better. I'm probably an insecure lyricist. I need confirmation.
Try doing it with that full low. You did like an octave with a D flat in the middle as well. Was that a mistake? Nice.
Yeah. That was a
So was
mistake
that.
Also.
Still not sure whether that's called. Oh yeah. That isn't even the one, but that is a good one. This is how all Starkey tracks are made.
I think so.
Yes. Now we got it. There's some clicks in the snare. Can you hear it?
Yeah.
I don't know if they're supposed to be there. It's really ugly.
Anti-climax.
It's a gorgeous day. What better to be doing than cramped in studio with Starkey? Yay! But hey, we're going outside because we are looking for sounds to sample. We're trying to recreate the sound of like swords. sword blades
you
swiping
do.
together, which is exactly what you do if you're in Starkey. We haven't actually got any machetes lying around, although it would be nice if we did have. So we're just going to raid my dad's tool workshop to see if we can find something that goes sing, shing. You know the sounds we're looking for. Mischief managed. Within 2 minutes, the swords are in the track. I say swords. I of course mean crowbars. Starkey. Cool, we've done most of the arrangement, so we actually have verse, chorus, middle eight, chorus, whatever it is. We've recorded guitar. Sia came up with some awesome chords with this awesome guitar sound that plays extra notes, so we don't even know what the notes are. We've also done the bass, which I just did and edited. Loads of little samply noises and stuff like that, so sounding very Starkey-ish. We were about to start vocals, and Sia's just currently writing the lyrics from Facebook because they're in a message that when she sent them to me as a message, we need to get them on paper. So we thought handwriting is a good thing to keep it like original Starkey style. And then we're going to be sketching vocals, finding out what this melody's going to be, which is always scary and exciting. I don't think we're going to get the whole thing finished today, but we'll at least have the song so Sia can go and learn it and then come back and record. It's going to be awesome! So Sia, we're nearly at the end of the day.
Yeah.
How's it been going so far? What's been happening?
It's been going good. We've got a structure, we've got a melody, we've got all the things that you need to make a song, really.
Yay!
Not quite in the right order or all sorted yet.
It's pretty close.
Very
to be
close.
fair. And what's happening now?
We're having a tea break.
I think so.
It's too hot. This is Princess Leia here. Take one. I'm only going to hold this one up while I do this one.
What does she fix it in with? Just pins?
I assume so.
I haven't got any of those.
If I do that, I think it'll stay there.
It's coming undone.
Oh no! I'll do this one super quick. No.
It will happen though.
This touch so soft and gentle, it makes the hairs on your neck stand up, and every inch of you tremble. Or are you scared? Are you scared? You should be. With you all else is an afterthought. I'm alive but I'm not home.
Yes! Success. Genius.
How many hours later?
Genius. We've done it. Oh, you can't really see, but hey, it's all there. Look at all these guide vocals. Of course, we got to record the proper vocal, but the guide is there. That's the difficult bit done. Well done, Sia. I've been working further on the treatment. I did sort of sketch it out a while back, but I've done a more detailed treatment now, which basically describes what happens in the film in terms of the progression and how it fits with the music. And now Seah and I have got the sketch of the song. I've been able to be more specific about when we're going to see Seah and when we're going to see the actors and what's going to be happening at each stage of the song and the film. I also then can continue with the screenplay, which I've only just really got stuck into, which is, well, mainly the dialogue. There's only a little bit of dialogue in the film, but it's kind of important to get that right because it sets the whole story up, and I want to kind of make sure everybody connects with the characters in the right way right at the onset of the video. And then I can continue with storyboarding, which is kind of stressing me out a bit, but I think it's just because I'm still not 100% sure where each of the bits is going to be shot, which makes storyboarding quite difficult, although I can still just storyboard the sort of types of shot I want and what kind of angles I'm going to film the main characters at, because they're going to be there wherever we end up doing everything. I'm just at the very end part of writing the body part screenplay at the moment, and I'm very excited, so I thought I'd share that moment with you. I've been writing it for the last few hours, and I'm just working on the kind of final sequence. Throughout the video, Seah appears singing the lyrics from the song kind of in and around the action, and she can see the characters but they can't see her. And originally I sort of got this idea of, you know, she's kind of punctuating the different stages of the story and like will appear and sing a verse and a chorus, and then you'll kind of pick up the action again. But towards the end I was worried about losing the intensity by kind of interrupting what's happening in the action for like the last chorus. But I've just come up with this cunning way of having Seah in different places throughout the final sequence, which stops the interruption happening. It's like she's kind of with the main character in the final scene, the final moment. I'm kind of using various things on my laptop. I've got the quick keys for Adobe Story open just so I can speed things up. I've got my treatment open in the background and the screenplay open at the same time. So kind of using multiple windows, and I keep flicking from one format to another, changing the different ideas as they come. The bottom line is that there's infinite ways of writing, and whatever works for you in a particular situation. I quite often find myself with two things open at the same time. I think my mind works like that. It's something a bit like collaborating in a weird way. If you've got two different versions going on, you kind of have to keep correcting them each, and it makes you really kind of solid about what you're trying to do. Difficult to explain. But everybody works in different ways, and who's to say mine's any better than anybody else's? But whatever it takes, and like I say, I'm very excited, and I can't wait to crack on with more storyboarding.
As part of the Kickstarter crowdfunding campaign for the project, Starkey offered one lucky pledger the chance to come and record audio samples of their own design for the body part song. Elaine Thompson from West Wales was that intrepid pledger, and she brought a fascinating array of sonic delights with her to the session.
Elaine has arrived with a very mysterious selection of bags, which we're quite intrigued to find out what's in them. We're going to record some strange things. with your finger, tap the end of that microphone. Ah, that's the one. Good. Do another one. You know, like I was saying with the bell, like let it go for ages, an uncomfortably long time.
Okay.
The first bits of that where it was kind of booming can possibly be reversed, and you know when it sort of is going to build into some kind of before it suddenly cut to black, and that's going to probably be that sound. It's horrific. Yeah, try that and we'll see. Pretty creepy. Right. Marblerine, I'm going to call it.
I tried to get them in the balloons, but it kept breaking the neck of the balloons.
Yeah.
Couldn't get them in. Right.
Stick a giant reverb on it.
Yes. Oh yeah. I don't know, it's kind of very, like, it's very close. It's very like...
Recycle back. Take one.
That's fine.
How did you find the experience of recording samples?
Totally mad. Madder than I thought. Doing it at home, I thought I'm crazy, but when I hear the finished product, it's fantastic. You're so clever.
Oh, it's a little alien. What is a tree monster?
I've never actually figured it out.
Turns everything into a rainforest.
Right.
Later on in the session, it was time for Seah to lay down the final vocal takes.
Have you ever felt this touch so soft and gentle? It makes the hairs on your neck stand up and every inch of you tremble. Have you ever heard that voice so sweet and tender? Whisper such sweet nothings to make your body surrender. I feel like I have to switch personas in the chorus, because the verses it's like I'm watching what's happening, and then the choruses it's me.
Yeah, yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Kind of, although it's still...
It's still watching, but it's...
Because even when you're saying, have you ever heard, and all this kind of thing, you are that person. Well, you're asking your partner.
Yeah.
In a kind of, like,
strange way.
Yeah, I do expect you to understand this kind of a way, but have you ever felt this? And but with you, I'm now explaining what it is that I'm trying to explain.
Okay, that makes more sense.
So it's still the same.
Yeah. More than just body parts, or am I just flesh between bones? With you, all else is an afterthought. I'm alive, but I'm not home. I'm alive. I'm flesh between bones.
Not only is it out of tune, the track,
Yeah.
but it's also B flat, which is the worst possible key for a guitar.
Yay! Out of tune B flat.
With you, am I more than just body part? Or am I just flesh between bones? With you, all else is an afterthought. I'm alive, but I'm not home. I'm alive. I'm flesh between bones.
One of the most important aspects of pre-production of any film is just the kind of logistics and organisation, which can be very difficult to sort out and aren't necessarily that inspiring because they're not very creative, but they are kind of critical to make sure that your shoot will run smoothly and that you'll capture everything you need it to. In the case of body parts, one of the main aspects of this was the location. I really wanted Anne and Michael to live in a city, so it was kind of a challenge, being as I live in rural West Wales, to find somebody's house that we could film in, or flat, that would be able to be filmed as though it was in a city. My immediate thoughts went to Cardiff because that's where Erin lives, and I had in the back of my mind that she was going to play the main character. So I put a kind of an open question on Facebook asking if anyone would mind us borrowing their house for a weekend, and to my amazement, several people responded very quickly. Ultimately, we ended up at James and John's house in Adamsdown, which was just perfect. The way they've done the interior of the house just is fantastic. It's a really beautiful space, and they've got this amazing staircase, and the bathroom was quite big, which was important because of the scene there. The only snag was their bedroom, in that they were in the process of decorating and the bedroom wasn't actually very big, so it's going to be quite difficult to film in there. But fortunately, Erin's flat, she had a very big bedroom which looked like a similar kind of building, so we were able to use her bedroom for that scene and James and John's house for everything else. So what you see in the film is kind of a hybrid space, but you would never know if I didn't tell you. Other than location, of course, we had to coordinate cast, and as I already said, I very much had Erin in mind for playing Anne. I knew Erin would absolutely be fantastic in that part and really understand the kind of fear and tension that I was aiming for. As far as the male character of Michael, I kind of left it up to Erin herself, knowing that she was going to have to act with this person. It'd be good if she knew somebody. And I'd recently seen Erin in a musical called Battle Scars in Cardiff, which she did with her theatre group that she's a member of. So she went back to the theatre group and managed to find the amazing James, who bravely volunteered to play the part of our slightly sinister boyfriend, Michael, which he did brilliantly. We also had several props, specialist props we had to get together, such as the actual body parts themselves, which Dad went to our local butcher and sourced. And also I needed to get some surgical instruments, which good old Amazon works every time, finding scalpels and things like that. It's amazing what you can get on the internet. And of course the fake blood, which didn't feature massively, but was kind of important for the very last moments before Anne collapses in the kitchen and she finds the pool of blood by the flowers. One person immediately sprang to mind when I started thinking about fake blood and, in fact, wounds and wound makeup, and that is Neil James, who we've worked with before. He was in Tunnel Vision and did lots of behind-the-scenes work, and he is excellent at special effects makeup, so I asked him if he was up for it. He's also a big fan of Starkey, so he was very keen to get involved in the project and made us some incredible fake blood.
Hello, and welcome to our demonstration of how to make fake blood. I'm Neil James, and these are my ingredients. Here we have apple and strawberry squash as the base. We have corn syrup there. I'll use that to thicken the blood up. We have corn flour, which I'll use to make the blood less opaque and hopefully make it a little bit more realistic. Then we have cocoa powder and Hershey's chocolate syrup, which will darken and add depth to the colour. And of course, red food colouring, which needs no further introduction. And we start off with 60 ml of the squash. 1, 2. We'll follow this up with 120 ml of the corn syrup. Ooh, lovely. Gloop. Starting to look gloopy already, how delicious. Now then, we will have 2 tablespoons of red food colouring. Ooh, looking good already. 1 tablespoon of Hershey's chocolate syrup. Blum, 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 blum. Blood. 2 tablespoons, I'll use a different tablespoon for this, of corn flour. That's probably 2 in 1 there because it's gone a bit. Bleh. 1 tablespoon of powdered cocoa. Ooh. Prepare the blender, lid on, and and here we have a freshly blended batch of blood. Let's see how it looks when we pour it into the bowl. Mmm. Finger licking good. Ow, wounded, wounded.
While I was storyboarding, I had in mind this idea for a shot to show the passing of time when Anne sits down in front of the sofa before Michael leaves. And the idea is that she's just contemplating and just feeling a bit kind of emotionally mixed up. I wanted to do this kind of time-lapse shot, which normally you do time-lapse over things like a landscape or a piece of still life, but I thought, wouldn't it be cool to do a time-lapse shot with somebody sitting in shot and changing of light to show the passing of time. So I kind of did a few test runs in my studio and I found this kind of cool way of doing it where you just put the camera on the dolly and move the dolly just a centimetre or 2 at a time, and each time you do it you kind of move the camera slightly to adjust your angle to keep the subject central, and also adjusting the light every time you move it. So with a few practices, kind of mastered the art so that when we were on set, we could actually do it with Erin in shot, and I had various members of our tech team moving lights and gradually closing doors to change the lighting drastically during the scene. It took about 25 minutes, I think, to do, and was very hypnotic. The entire crew and Erin were all very much in the zone. I almost considered dropping the whole idea because we were running short on time, but I'm really glad we persevered because it's a very unusual shot and I think it tells that aspect of the story fairly well. It's what day is it?
It's Saturday.
It's Saturday morning, the crack of 9 o'clock. I'm in Newcastle Emlyn in the car with Erin, the talent, in the back. Neil, the multi-talent makeup artist and general tech genius, in the front. And we're just off to Cardiff. Mum and Dad are in the car behind. And we're going to start filming body parts.
Hi, Erin.
Hey!
Having arrived at the location in Cardiff, one of the first jobs was to prepare Anne's first scar for the bathroom scene. Having previously worked on tunnel vision, where I did the wounds for the car crash scene, I was more prepared for this one and really enjoyed the process of doing it. I created the wounds in wax, sculpted wax putty, which I built up and then used tools to shape it to look like a wound. The colour was built up using face paints to create a sort of bruised effect around the wound, make it look like a skin had suffered trauma, while still trying to blend it into Erin's natural skin. Once we'd done this, I applied fake blood to the interior of the wound, caked blood really, to make it look like it wasn't totally fresh. And then the stitches. Now the stitches were fun. When I made those, I got a length of fishing line, used a black marker pen to colour it black, then cut it into short lengths and tied them into little loops. And these I then snipped off the ends so that they looked like neat little stitches and pushed the loop part of it into the wound, so that they ended up looking like quite realistic stitches. And I have to say, Erin was very patient with me, putting up with having all this stuff applied to her, but the results did look quite effective in the end.
I've not had that much fun. It's like the little child in me that went, ooh, scars, suddenly came out, and it was brilliant, because it was like, I was watching these scars being made, and I couldn't quite believe, as they appeared on my skin, how realistic they looked. And I was like, I've seen Neil mould the wax, I've seen him paint it, I've seen him do this, I've seen him add the stitches in. Yeah, it was just uncanny to look at.
Meanwhile, upstairs, the windows in the bathroom needed to be fitted with Winston's custom blackout, enabling us to film nighttime scenes during the day.
Does someone want to lace me into this thing? Mother? Black,
I'm pretty sure.
Hang on a second, let me get proper hold. Okay, got it.
First shot of the day. I'm trashed already. Can we go home yet?
Shot 1, take 7.
I liked how you sort of looked up into the mirror as you turned the tap off momentarily. Action. Oh.
Michael?
Cut. It's about 6:30 and I'm quite brain frazzled. It's been a really good day so far, but hard work, and we've still got quite a few scenes left to shoot today. James and John have just been amazing. Like, we've totally taken over their house and they're just like hiding from us because we're just making so much mess. We just stopped for dinner. We're pretty much a tiny bit behind schedule, but we're doing all right. Everyone's been working really hard and the cast are amazing. Erin and James have just done an awesome job so far, and Sia's been amazing, and Mum and Dad have just like rocked on the organisation. Mum's just serving up dinner for everybody, and Neil has just been like multitasking, doing a million jobs. He did some amazing makeup on Erin earlier on, some secret makeup which you won't see if this is on a vlog, but you will see if you're watching the behind the scenes. So more to go, if I can just keep the adrenaline going. Behind the scenes. This is what really goes down on a film shoot.
That's why we're here, for the food.
We had to film a lot in a very short space of time, and although I'd sort of scheduled everything scene by scene, knowing what time we should be filming each part, it was very difficult to predict how long certain things would take. And there was a point, probably about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, when I realised we were about 2.5 hours behind schedule, which was really stressful. I've kind of had to just take some deep breaths and think quickly about how we were going to overcome that problem. It was basically just a case of upping the speed of the whole process, and thankfully the crew are just so awesome. Neil and Mum and Dad and Sia were all really efficient, and sensed my kind of urgency, and so we started moving everything much more quickly. It's inevitable. Filmmaking is like that. There are so many variables. The technology, lighting, weather, all that kind of stuff interferes with your schedule.
Oh, this is where all the work goes on out here. This is very serious stuff happening in the kitchen.
Social media updating is so important for our profile.
That's humongous. That's almost
Coming through.
And I think that's humongous. But
Maybe I wouldn't there somehow.
That's not actually Hollywood, that's silver birch wood.
This is our barricade.
Gaffer wins all.
Barricade in case of zombie apocalypse. We will be safe in
I
there.
don't care if we've got cardboard zombies, really.
Yeah.
This is costing me a lot to do this, you know.
See, James and I have been sort of really good friends all year. So I know that he's very good, and our characters actually worked together a bit in the show that we were in. But it was very odd from going just to being friends and then having to act as if we'd been in a very serious relationship for all this time. And especially just as my family were the ones filming, it was quite nerve-wracking at points. But I feel that we did quite well. I think we were quite convincing, hopefully.
Cut.
We were having ballet steps just now.
The shoot in Cardiff, the 2 days that we did there, I had a great time. I had a really, really good time, and I kind of fulfilled my role as in being filmed. That's the bit I'm kind of most uncomfortable with, really. And so once I've got over that bit, I like doing all the other things that there is to do, sat and turned lights on and off when told, which I kind of like that. I like to be a pawn in the bigger picture.
Your body surrender.
Come on then, let's show us how to do it. She's trying to break it, Branwen. Don't you give it to her again?
Style.
It's a bit time consuming, but it's not hard.
Welcome to day 2. Say hello.
Hello!
Don't take any of me out.
Do a dolly demo. Get on the dolly. Whee! This is how you make shadows.
Never smile at a crocodile. So during the filming process, we wouldn't just do something consecutively. We'd take small sections from later on in the sequence of the video and film that first, because that worked a better way around of filming it in time order, because obviously we only had the house for about, the day. So we needed to get all the shots that were relevant to those specific scenes done that day before the next day going to my actual house and filming the bedroom scenes. Sometimes I'd have to stop and ask Branwen where exactly we were to remind me what my character was feeling at that point and sort of the motivation behind what I was doing and how intense it was.
Take one.
Action. Cool.
My one very, very important role, which you'll see in the film, is I flickered a light at some point. Right now I have a very important job. I am flickering. When Branwen shouted flicker, I turned the light on and off very, very quickly. So that gives Erin something to react to.
Flicker. Action. Cut.
We will have no evidence remaining.
If you
Ooh, technical stuff. Go back to the nutters.
Ghostly wet willy!
see this?
You're creepy.
Preparing lunch again.
So take all
Okay, so
my
stop
body
it.
parts, take
And jump back.
And when do you want me to go?
I'll cue you. I'll say,
Take a moment.
now.
And then I walk off.
Yeah. No, what I'll say is now, and you'll take your hand away from the drawer.
Yeah.
And sit back up and look around, and then you'll get up and go. And then I'll probably say go.
For to get up and go.
Yeah. Okay, Dad, roll tape, roll sound. Looking in the drawer. Go.
So take all of my body parts.
Wow.
Haven't really finished yet. We're partway through day 2 and we've just finished the kind of third shot from the end, I think, depending on whether we can get outside later and do some outdoor shots that we wanted to do. It's been drizzling, but actually it's not looking too bad at the moment. We're just stopping for lunch, which is, as usual, looking pretty serious, thanks to our amazing caterer, who's looked after us incredibly well. The shots that we've just been doing in the bedroom are looking awesome. Really beautiful performances from Erin and Seah. And we've got our fab lighting team making ace looking cinematography. So yeah, 2 more shots to go, and then we'll see if we can do the outside stuff.
The fluffy animal is out to go for some outside sound recording. Welcome to the car. Hi, Erin. Hey.
Hello.
We are in the car, going to find some outside places. And now come the shots of Erin walking.
I'm supposed to look like I'm struggling. You're supposed to sympathise with the character and feel very sad that Anne is having to do all this hard work and walking all this distance. Well, the fact is I actually did walk all that distance and was as tired as I looked. And if I looked uncomfortable, it's because the bags were full of loads of tins. And people were looking at me very strangely. There was one point when we had to go into a supermarket shop and Branwen wanted me to walk in with these bags and then wait a second and wait for the no cars to be on the road and then walk back out. But this shop was so busy. I'd sort of walk in the door, go up to this point, and actually there was a massive queue of people, and they sort of look at me a bit odd, and I'd sort of like turn around and walk back out, and then I'd walk back in, and turn around, walk back out, and it was just one of the most awkward things because people were looking at you going, why is she coming in and going out and going? So that was quite difficult.
The last scar of the shoot.
Right, which side was it?
Oh, left side.
That side.
Yeah.
Yeah, left.
Shot 7, take 3.
Action. Cut. It's a wrap! The main edit for the film was actually very easy, I think because I'd storyboarded it quite carefully and I had a very strong vision about what I wanted, and because we captured everything very well. I suppose the longest aspects were the sequences with Seah, which weren't specifically storyboarded. I just had to kind of choose the best bits and see how it fitted with the music. Which is probably one of the biggest aspects, one of the biggest challenges of this edit, was the fact that there was a song involved, and the song started and then stopped and then started again and then stopped. So there were a lot of times where I had to kind of try and get the action to happen at the right speed so that it fitted with the sort of song structure and everything else. And particularly the bedroom bit, we wanted the music to continue behind that. And so ultimately it had to be an exact number of bars before we see Seah again on the bed and she carries on singing the next part. It was important for me not to compromise on the pacing of the story, even with that in mind. And I found that quite difficult in the final sequence of the song where Erin's about to collapse in the kitchen, and trying to sort of maintain the pace without losing the kind of structure of the music. It's over a chorus, there are lyrics, and we'd filmed various passes, fortunately, of Erin coming down the stairs and walking through the kitchen, and we were playing the music while she was doing that so that Seah could be in the background singing. Colour correcting was an actual pleasure for once. Often with amateur film, when you're struggling with lighting and not such great quality cameras and so on, colour correcting can be a real stressful job because you're trying to fix something that wasn't very good and turn it into something that looks presentable. But in this case, we spent enough time on the lighting at the time, and I'm getting more comfortable with my camera. So the footage we captured was already looking good before I even started playing with it, which meant that colour correction was an enhancing process rather than a fixing process. This was partly hindered by my computer, which was progressively dying during the process of editing and colour grading. It's at the point where it was just crashing a lot while I was trying to edit, and would take a long time to respond to my mouse clicks. So it came to the point where I had to buy a new computer, which I've been planning to do for a long time. Fortunately managed to get some work, which meant that I could afford to buy a computer. And since the new computer has arrived, my new baby, it's been a billion times easier, and I've really enjoyed those kind of last finishing touches on the film of colouring and tweaking the look of the whole thing. In terms of VFX, video effects, there aren't actually many in the film. It's mostly done with practical effects, which means you actually have the effect when you film it. For instance, our scars and the sort of shaky camera and all this kind of stuff was all done on the set rather than having to do it in post-production on the set. Rather than a few things, the opening credits has some text appearing in different places, which looks as though it's part of the architecture of the street. So, for instance, signs above shops or banners on railings, and those all obviously had to be created in post-production. After Effects, one of the programs that I use in post-production, is excellent at tracking and working out what the camera has done, and especially using this plugin called Mocha. So I was able to track the handheld camera shots of Erin walking by a shop, and then take the shop sign itself, put it in Photoshop, remove the real name of the shop, find a similar font, and replace the shop name with our credits. And then you just kind of link that photoshopped image to your tracked information from Mocha, and lo and behold, your new logo kind of moves in sync with the handheld camera movement, and you magically have your own shop names. There are also a few kind of visual effects towards the end when Erin is collapsing. The whole glitch aspect, I really love kind of glitchy video, and we put elements of that in our music, Seah and I, mostly using short circuits. So I originally had planned this sort of glitchy ending, and I've sort of experimented a bit by using multiple takes of the same footage, showing Erin kind of staggering through the kitchen and then jumping from one take to another and tilting the angles, and using this incredible plugin called Video Copilot Twitch, which you can set to randomize flashes of blurriness or different colors or black or light or whatever you want. And it'll randomly kind of jitter your footage depending on what settings you feed into it. So a combination of that and some sound design using short circuit, and we had our kind of glitchy collapse sequence.
So we are moving into the final stages of the body parts post-production. We're just got together today to do some sound design and some extra music-y bits.
I think it's intrinsic to Starkey and why we write so well, because we write so well together, because I think both of us are coming from like an audio manipulation perspective as well as a songwriting perspective, and sound design is becoming increasingly popular. It used to be really just specific to either kind of like ambient electronica or prog rock type stuff, but it does appear more and more in all forms of music.
Yeah, I find it exciting because I just like the way that you can record something and make people believe that it's actually an instrument.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't care as much as I do, because I go, look at that snare, I made that out of tapping a crisp packet against something, and people don't care, but I do.
As you've seen earlier on in this documentary with the section about Elaine coming to record samples, that very much ties in with the sound design concept. Sound design is really taking abstract sounds or recorded sounds or even synthesized sounds and kind of manipulating them into making soundscapes or atmospheres that contribute to the music. I mean, in film, it's been around for a long time. I think Ben Burt from Lucasfilm was the first person to be credited as a sound designer, and his work in Star Wars was very kind of pioneering in the use of sound and making sound really a strong part of the cinematic experience.
I think one of my favourite elements about it is that you can make a sound and put it to something that it doesn't match with, and your brain will just go, oh yeah, that's fine.
We very much integrate that into our tracks. Most of our tracks have sound design elements. Starkey songs have always had sound design drums.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever used much in the way of
No.
like actual
Real
drum
drums.
sounds, although they sound like drums, but they've been made from kitchen
else.
utensils or
Cars.
cars,
Yeah.
cans,
Yeah.
all sorts
Everything.
of things. Yeah, that all lends itself as well very nicely to the concept of surround sound.
Hooray! Yeah, surround sound is another tool, mostly used in cinema, not generally for short films, but because we both like surround sound, it's happening for this one. Usually you'd stick to 5 speakers and then 1 subwoofer, so you've got your dialogue coming from the middle, you've got your music and your sound effects coming from either side, and then you could have stuff behind your audience, and it's unsettling and kind of, it makes you feel very surrounded by it all and in it.
Immersive.
Yeah, it's very immersive. I haven't done much with 5.1 actually. I tend to do more. While I was at university, I experimented with 8.2, which
What?
is excessive. 2 subwoofers and 8 speakers around you, and it's great. It produces a really good effect, but not many people will have 8 speakers in their living rooms.
No.
So
Or even cinema.
stick to 5.1.
Yeah. 5.1 I think is quite intuitive. When I was mixing Tunnel Vision, I decided to mix it in 5.1, having never done 5.1, and I talked to you a bit about it at the time, and I watched loads of YouTube videos about it. Not that there are that many actually. It feels like this kind of mystical art, but once I actually started working in it, it's very intuitive. You know, you just have to use common sense.
It's also less is more quite a lot of the time.
Yeah,
you don't want to go crazy with putting things behind you because that's not really realistic.
It's kind of only if there's a reason motivated surround. Sia's bought a couple of speakers from her house, some powered KRKs to use as our surrounds, and I've got my usual stereo ones, and we've got a centre one, and I'm going to use my bass amp as a subwoofer, for want of a better subwoofer, and we're going to try and mix the music in surround, which is quite unusual, and the film itself obviously, which is a bit more usual. It's often the thing that makes the film. The sound is what so many people fall down on, especially making amateur films, is poor sound, but because we're both sound engineers, qualified sound engineers, no less.
And it should work.
I think you're slightly more qualified than me.
I don't feel it.
But yeah, that's what's going to make Body Parts, hopefully, as awesome as it's going to be. I'm really, really happy how Body Parts came out in the end. It was an incredibly challenging project for everyone involved in terms of things like location, the acting, the on-set special effects, and just all the technical stuff. combining a song with a film. It's all really tricky stuff. I love a challenge, and I'm just very grateful that some of the wonderful people around me enjoy the same kinds of challenges. Everyone worked really well together on set, and it made my life in post-production so much easier. So yeah, thank you so much to everyone who was involved, the actors and the technical team, and to all our supporters on Kickstarter who helped make the whole project possible in the first place. It's been an absolute pleasure to produce this short piece of art. I hope you will enjoy it and appreciate all the love and the work that went into producing it.